Welcome to our broadcast. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Share the live, good folks, and smash that emoji button. 500 of you already watching us live. 500 of you already watching us live, waiting for the song to subside. Good to have all of you on the live this morning. Gloria, Gloria, Gloria. Thanks for the things, Gloria. Gloria Phillips. Thanks for the thing. Thanks for the thing. Thanks for the thing. Much appreciated. Everett Small, good to see you. Fidel Innes, Desmond Harris, good to see you. Lilith Cox, good to see you as well. And the folks are saying sound, sound, sound. Let's ensure I have sound at my end. How are you folks doing? Are you guys hearing us clearly? Are you folks hearing us clearly? The folks that had a minute of silence. Are you hearing me clearly? Checking the levels. Good to see all of you folks on the live tonight, folks. Good to have you all here, Claire and Grace and Lester. You got to wait for the bell to subside, and then because you always pull down when the bell is so loud. Yeah, the bell is so loud. Reminds me of somebody. Right? It reminds me of somebody. How you folks doing? Leonard Sampson, and I see we got Neon Harding. Dorrit Gibbons is here. Nigel Plass. Nigel. Good to have you on the live tonight. Maxine is here too. Hula, Lafferman, Rubens. I remember. Sandra is here too. Auntie Sandra Hanover. Mark Lindo is here. Good to have you, Mark, on the live tonight. Deborah Sharon and Lynch. Fidel Innes. Anthony Hunter is here as well. 700 of you folks. Forgive me if I don't get to all of you guys. Bushmaster is here too. Desmond, Evelina. Don is here as well. Good to have you in the live, Don. Romel is here, folks. Good to have you, Romel, and Shirley, and Asquith, and Marlene, and Troy. Edward. Don Walcott is here too. Good to have you, Don. Charles Nelson. Jilly G from Florida. Jilly G from Florida in the house tonight. I see Latoya Spence is here. Jamal is here. Glycis is here. Michelle Limerick. Good to have you on the live too, and all you other folks. Marcia Fordyce, good to have you too. Desmond Harris, good to have all of you. Charles Pilu, good to have you, Charles, on the live tonight. Edward Brooms is here too. And Siobhan McDonald, of course. Of course, we got Siobhan here. Good to see you, Siobhan, and all the other folks joining us. Great to have all of you. Folks, tis the season. Tis the season. Folks, a lot of people going crazy, you know. A lot of people claiming, oh, we're not worried about Sherrod, and we're not worried about Jilly G. We ain't worried about them, Don and Diane. We're not worried about Marcia Wiles. No. We're not. But when you see the actions, oh, Lord, they're discombobulated. They're about to combust. How they worried, right? Pat Promo, Edward Brooms, Troy Fraser. Good to have all of you. Siobhan McDonald, as I said. Godfrey Montaigne. Good to have Godfrey on the live tonight. Bert Jones, good to see you there. Forbes Meduze is on the live too. Naomi Drucker. Naomi, my Lord. Folks, let's talk a couple of things. Let's talk about a couple of things, folks. And then we can come around to a couple, because this is the season. Tis the season. Ghana elections 2025. Tis the season. We're in the early days yet. We're going to admit that. We're in the early days yet. Folks, a lot happening. A lot happening. Today was the 102nd birth anniversary. We're getting the day right. The commemoration was today. Forbes, Lyndon Forbes, Samson Burnham. I love what Leader of the Opposition, Leader of the PNCR did today on the occasion of the 102nd birth anniversary. Lyndon Forbes, Samson Burnham, LFSB, laying out the accomplishments of LFSB. And one of the things he said, lots of folks will try to malign him. Lots of folks. The man died in 1985. And we're still trying to bury him. We're still trying to bury him. That's what they call legacy, you know. Look, I never met the fella. As a child, saw him in the distance. But none of us don't get everything right. No leader does, especially a transformational leader. The trick is the art is to get more things right than you don't. And if you can do that, folks, history is going to be on your side. History is going to be on your side. And that is why I love the fact that Mr. Aubrey C. Norton laid out this morning some of the accomplishments, because a lot of people forget. A lot of people think this country only started in 2020, and before that was barren wasteland. They went in for 32 years. They don't run on that record. No. They run on what happened when oil money started flowing. That is what they run on. But folks, the opener tonight, again, is the leader of the PNCR, that monolithic party, that bastion of a party, leader of the parliamentary opposition. A little while longer, folks. Election is upon us. A little while longer. Laying it out for us. Take a look. Take a listen.
Today marked the 102nd birth anniversary of the founding of the People's National Congress. On the occasion, the party he founded hosted a wreath-laying ceremony at its final resting place, 7 Ponds, Place of Heroes. Chairman of the proceedings, Charmaine Holder, said that the assembly was, among other things, to reflect on the impact Burnham has had on national life.
Comrade Forbes Burnham was not just a political figure. He was a visionary who dared to dream of a better future for all of Guyana. His unwavering commitment to justice, equality, and progress inspired countless individuals to join him in the pursuit of a more inclusive society.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton said that Burnham was one of the most maligned persons, although he made significant contributions to Guyana.
It is therefore necessary that we do everything in our power to set the record straight so that our young people and all and sundry will know who Forbes Burnham was.
He said that Burnham came to power when Guyana was under threat. The disturbances of the early 1960s were just over.
Guyana was under threat from Venezuela, from Suriname, and sometimes people forget the Atlantic. Sometimes people forget that Burnham put in place that sea defense that protects us until today.
Norton said that it was Burnham who fashioned the Foreign Service to protect this country's territorial integrity.
It is he who ensured that we trained an army to protect us, even though we were small in size. He developed a professional police force, something we wish we had today.
He said that Burnham introduced the religious holidays for every major religion.
From the inception, he promoted indigenous culture and our indigenous people, ensuring they access land. Some might not recall that Forbes Burnham, after a proper process, named our airport Temeri in honor of our indigenous people.
He said that Burnham sought to forge national unity. In the face of poor housing conditions, Burnham developed a model for housing in Guyana. He said that Burnham also developed a program called Hinterland Development.
Some there are who will remember that in those days from Linden, you would have had to come to town to go to Bartica. But he developed a network of hinterland roads that began to link the hinterland. Hinterland development in a structured way is a legacy of Linden, Forbes, Sampson, Burnham. And it hurts me when we see this government leave our young people to go in any direction. No leadership, no guidance. That is why we produce a generation of committed young people in the late 60s, 70s, and 80s that served Guyana and served Guyana.
There were
well.
floral tributes to the late founder leader.
Now, somebody, the leader of the opposition, said there, folks, yep, linging out. Linging out. What they'd love to do is dismantle some of that. They'd love to erase it. You know, it is sad. On a day like this, when we should, as a nation, be recognizing one of our former presidents, you know, not a peep. The people could never bring themselves to say, oh, he might have been a lot of things, but he did a couple of things too. Right? The only one talk about what they've done. Anything bad is the opposition. I say it again, as human beings, especially as leaders, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. Right? The thing is not to make too many. Things must go right more often than they go wrong. Difference with the PPP. Totally different with the PPP. Totally different. 102nd birth anniversary. Yep. Them boys should be paying Mohammed rent. They should be paying Azruddin Mohammed rent. There's no Azruddin living in the head, you know. They're hot and bothered in a bad way. Hot and bothered. We can come to that. We can come to that. Before we get there, though, your boy had a we're going to see. All right, are you hearing us better now, folks? So we're talking about the fact that the folks are, forgive us. Oh, we're so energetic tonight and energized. We might have blown the fuse myself. We don't know. Might have bust the fuse myself. we might have bust up the fuse we own self. We might have bust up the fuse we own self. We're talking about the perception, the corruption perception index. And the fact that you boy have been going on and on about all kinds of things. All kinds of things he's talking about, but this corruption perception index. As I said, he went over the top with some boy named Troy. Let us know if you are hearing us, good folks. Some boy named Troy sometime didn't like them. He had nothing good to say about them. You all hearing us? Somebody named Margaret. Sometimes they write something on Facebook. And he can point out every reason why the APNU AFC should not get good reviews where the corruption perception. He vexed. Jagdio was vexed that we got good reviews on the corruption perception index on the Transparency International 2025, 26, 27, 28. Or rather, let me go back. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. They would wish to get it. So he's upset. He talked about Troy. He talked about Troy Grab. Somebody named Troy who the heady TCI locally sometime. All kinds of things he going off to talk about. You know what he talk about today? Our 6 soldiers that were shot. Jagger didn't even say in our thoughts and prayers. Not a word about our soldiers. Not a word about how our territorial integrity is faring. No. He ran out to lie about the corruption perception index. Folks, take a listen. Some of what Big Head Papa Jagabat said. Take a listen.
I would like to find out is nobody knew in Guyana when this report went up from TIGI. They didn't publish it here. So the media didn't know. We didn't know. It's only when Transparency International posted it as a link we knew. So if you are a transparency organization in Guyana, you have a duty to put a report, if you're putting together a report, and publish it locally and say, we're sending this report up, so that the people of this country would see it. I wonder if they sent up a report. I'm wondering now what report they sent up. And trust me, I would not put it past them because they're hostile to the PPP, to again send up a negative report, like how they whitewashed the whole APNU period based on what I just said in 2019. This is a group of people who are hostile to us. So for example, and now I've seen Gulsaran coming forward, and Gulsaran is a big apologist and a blatant liar for what he's trying to make it seem. Why APNU? That APNU did a number of things that caused their improvement. Nothing to do, so he's fabricating things, for example. He talked about the amendment to the anti-money laundering law that the PPP refused to do in the period before 2015 that was done on the APNU. We didn't. You recall what happened? APNU had the majority in the parliament. APNU AFC were the majority in parliament. They frustrated any attempt to amend the anti-money laundering law. Just go back and check that. He says, oh, that was one of the reasons why they had an improvement in their period. But they whitewash all the wickedness, the TIGI that took place in that period. I shudder to think if they had taken those issues into consideration, where we would have been on the index now, the egregious things I mentioned earlier, because they were whitewashed. But now, apart from whitewashing APNU's track record, they're trying to invent positive things for APNU.
You know, I like when they come with the folders and the papers and the you see here? Yeah. You see? This is what they did. You know? There's a jacket. I like when they come with all the papers. You see? Yeah. You know? But you and I can never see one this paper. You see? I have it right here. I got the thing right here. All the corruption. Jag you them right here, listed. Right? We have it. Yeah. I love it. Binders full. Remember, Mate Romney had binders full. We have the information, all the corruption. Right? You want to see report now? You want to see report? That one hit them, you know. They're corrupt. And they want you come and say something else. That man got critics in that room. Got boredness in that room. Knowing critics didn't qualify in any way for the Tupui contract. Critics in that same room. And the man said it, people lying for him. Critics in that room, Tupui boss in the room, asking he questions too, berating, belittling media houses. And that man talking with corruption. You see, we got right here. How does Apple do? How come they get a better report? Tupui right there. And the man saying people lying for he. The man saying people wrong him. You ever see anything like this? You ever see anything like this? Folks, your boy. We want to get to a couple things. But before we do that, before we head down the road, down the line, folks, before we head there, you know what came up today? Those of you watching us in diaspora, right? We hear a lot of people not going out to shop as they used to. Guyanese in the diaspora, especially those in New York, Brooklyn, Queens, New York. A lot of stores are dependent on Guyanese brothers and sisters, you know, for the sustenance. You know, they're buckling now because people are not going out. I want to see what is the response to the the PVP independence activities. I want to see what is the response to that. But in that press conference today, Jagger wanted y'all to know, he said, y'all welcome. Right? When ICE bring y'all back, when ICE bring you home, you're welcome. He said, we ain't gonna refuse y'all. He said, everybody, welcome. Is here y'all from? Some of y'all forget me a little bit, but he says, here y'all from. Take a look.
So on the question of how many persons are going to be deported, so we have made it clear that whatever the number is, once they're Guyanese, we welcome our people home. We have not gotten any final numbers from the US as to how many people will be deported, but the people who are deported by the US government, which is their decision in full, will be accepted home. These are our people. We have to accept them home. In terms of how many from third party will come to Guyana, there is no agreement on anyone from third party coming to Guyana. There's no such agreement.
I guess we're happy to hear that. There's no agreement. And he did talk too. No agreement. That's what they say, right? Remember, they publish all the reports and the letters and so on, so that Guyanese are in the press. They publish everything. He also clarified why they've been meeting so often with Mike Pompeo. They're trying to get Mike Pompeo to improve their corruption perception index ratings and rankings, among other things. You see, he knows a lot of people that they want to know. So he advises them. Did the international transparent international Barjaglio tell us what are the terms of the engagement with Mike Pompeo? How much is he being paid? What are the terms of this contract? Do they have to fly him in and out? Do they house him? Do they stand the bill when he is here? Mike Pompeo, the man who fell from grace, from Trump's grace. Trump yanked away his security detail and protection. He says he's undeserving, stripped him. Why Jack do them always interested in the riffraffs, the leftovers? Why is that, folks? Why is that? Well, today he clarified what they've been meeting with Mike Pompeo on and what they've been talking about, just in case you guys have been wondering. Take a look.
On the Mike Pompeo matter, he came to address the energy conference, and Mike Pompeo has great global connections, and we often benefit from his advice on those matters, and also we share what's going on in the country. So I think he is invested in seeing success here. He had a crucial role to play as U.S. Secretary of State, and we believe we should be part of engaging the U.S. more. I'm aware that President Ali is in discussion with Marco Rubio, has invited Marco Rubio down to Guyana too. We're hoping he'd come and come soon. So we can continue to grow the relationship we have with the U.S. government. It's an important partner.
So Mike Pompeo, let me see if I get this right. Mike Pompeo has lost favor with the U.S. government, but they're using him to improve their relations with the U.S. government. How does that work? I don't know. It might be too high, too much high science. Lots of these things are a no-brainer for these guys. You all know that, right? Lots of it are a no-brainer for these guys. Let's touch on a couple of things, and then we can circle back to some other things that came out of the Corner Shop show today, folks. We're gonna come back, circle back, because y'all know y'all buy how he stay. Y'all know. Corner Shop show. If you want life, oh, I got a stomach, you know. I got a good stomach. I can listen to people life for hours. These guys have put it to art form. They can lie as we on Trump, as we on Pompeo, as we on Trump and Pompeo. Trump is not backing a UN motion that supports Ukraine. As a matter of fact, Trump seemed to have gone to the other side. I mean the Putin side. Right? Like some folks who shall not be mentioned, they've gone to the other side. Some of us would say good riddance. Good riddance. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Some people gone back. They were never here with us to begin with. They've gone back. Trump has called Zelensky a dictator. Right? Call him a half-bit comedian. A whole number of things. And we last 72 hours, folks. International relations is on his head right now. And that's why these guys are sitting down with Pompeo. So the US said, we ain't backing this thing. We're not backing it. And then look, And our Trinidadian brothers and sisters, as we come home, as we come in for London, look at government that cares. Then just throwing squatters on the road. I was looking at some photographs of success. And I refresh your memory soon enough how they flood that place with those people on that land. You know what Trinidad doing for their people? Building 500 homes for squatters. Not just giving people land and say, hey, you're paying for your land, you can't even see the plot. You can't even see the spot. This sounds like housing solutions under the last government here. Not just land, but building homes for its people. And we have a right, we have the onus upon us especially, now that we've come into this largesse, folks, to treat our people better, you know? Treat our people better. And this was announced in Trinidad by Minister Camille Robertson Regis, that the government will construct 500 homes for squatters occupying state and private lands. This is a good thing. We claim we distributed all these house lots, 50,000. And every day people on social media complaining. Every day people on social media complaining. Yeah. So kudos to these guys for keeping it real and for really helping people in Trinity. And while that's happening on that hand, folks, CARICOM is meeting. May wants unity. You know, she's very strong on climate action. She wants unity. Sound a little bit like the Secretary General, because he's been calling for an end to fossil fuel. Right? We can't really talk green economy and environment and all that, but we won't walk the walk. Hypocrites. Talking about them boys at home here especially. Hypocrites. May wants unity. She wants to come together as a region. We're taking too long on certain things. I say, I want to talk 10 you know. CARICOM. We got some good CARICOM leaders. But some others, you all call name, I can whistle. And so, at the 48th CARICOM heads of government meeting that's happening as we speak, she urged regional leaders to embrace unity and decisive action. And decisive action. You got action, and then you got decisive action, and then you get jagged with them, circling the wagon. Decisive action, she says, in the face of global crisis. And you can just take your pick of it. Right? You can just take your pick of it. She says it cannot be business as usual, and called for stronger international partnerships, especially with the African Union. Rising cost of living, she mentioned. That ring a bell, makes sense to anybody? Rising cost of living. Huh? Do you feel that? Food security. And she said the need to modernize outdated colonial era education systems. Pim. Who vex? Who vex? A couple of the things she spoke about, good folks. A couple of the things she talked about. Pim. Yeah. As we switch gears a little bit, folks. As we switch gears a little bit, I want you all to know, MASH is upon us. You know, MASH is upon us. A lot of folks have been talking that MASH is not what it used to be. Read the papers, letters, columns. Read what's on Facebook. We knew sooner or later our Guyanese people to get tired of this foolishness, you know. And Guyanese are speaking up. It is not what it used to be. What do you want people to say? That is how they feel. MASH is not what it used to be. You want people to lie? Huh? Is that what we want people to tell untruths? So we got to go back to basics now. We got to go back to basics. We heard former Finance Minister Winston Jordan on this very issue quite recently. He said MASH is almost non-existent. Matrimony, as we know it, started in Linden. Is housed in Georgetown. It still belongs to Linden, but it's housed in Georgetown. It's not what it used to be. The former Finance Minister.
Matrimony 2025 is almost a non-event, says former Finance Minister Winston Jordan.
I don't want to make it as if it's condolences, but if it is, so be it, because it is either the death or the near death of matrimony. You know, I mean, it just like Christmas. You remember I was indicating that the Christmas didn't feel like Christmas anymore. The last Christmas. Now this matrimony is turned out to be even worse.
He said that given the size of the 2025 budget, even the decorations of buildings are missing.
And it's times like these you have to reminisce on what we old timers were able to experience. Real matrimony from the time it was conceptualized in Linden to what it was a couple, many years ago. Those float, the highlight of it all was the float parade.
He said that they were fantastic designers. The highlight was the float parade.
You had designers like John Fernandez and Peter Tang, Neil Chan from Solo Power and Solo Fame. A lot of people don't remember also that Neil Chan also was the head of the ETB, the External Trade Bureau, right? People like Neil Chan, Claire Gorin. I believe Claire Gorin passed sometime 2 years ago or so. David Lanny, Winfield James, I know for sure that he passed.
There were also the other competitions.
Guy Mine, Force of Guy Stock, Force of Joint Services. Then you had the private sector, GT&T, originally GTC, GT&T, Banks DIH, DDL. In 1 year they had a big story between, I think it was Banks DIH and DDL, I believe it was. And I think after then they pulled out of entering the matrimony competitions and so on.
Now the events like the Calypso competitions were anticipated events.
Mighty Rebel, Lord Canary, Mighty Duke, the Mighty Chief, Winfield James again, Big Red, Spur Wing, Hilton Hamilton. Oh my goodness, those were real class days. And who forget, of course, the mass games and the People's Parade, and so on. I mean, I have to reminisce. I mean, people could say whatever they want. A lot of those things also happen at times when the economy wasn't doing too bright.
Jordan said that come 1992, when the late Dale Bisnott was education minister, the problem began.
He did know, but what he said at that time hasn't died. It has lived on, and it perhaps gave the indication of how the PPP thinks about matrimony. Because even though these were not his exact words, he indicated that matrimony was a black people thing.
He said that following those words, the PPP sought to de-emphasize matrimony to the point of wanting to get rid of it.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. There you have it. And I'd have you know, the PNCR, they want to do their bit to bring back matrimony to what it used to be. And so they're having a MASH band. And they're going to be giving out T-shirts for MASH 2025. You can head on down to Parade Ground. I think they're moving off at 9 a.m. on the 23rd. Right? And they have a contingent. So if you want to go out there and remember what it used to be, folks, what it used to be, we got to start bringing it back, It's ours. Carnival is now we on. It's borrowed thing. We could borrow it, fair enough. But MASH is ours. And we got to bill it, folks. So PNCR got a MASH band on February 23rd, 9 a.m. Parade Ground. They're going to be giving out T-shirt, and you can get water, and they're going to give you lunch and so on. All of them all of them, they can make sure you're well taken care of. For that day, as you're mashing in the PNCR Apnu Mash Band, and I'm ahead of myself a little bit there because they'll have an after party as well. So you'll be mashing 2025 PNCR Apnu Mash Band, and then you have the after party. The after party. Again, February 23rd. Music and so on to your throat, as we say colloquially. Admission is free, folks. Admission is free. Please and thank you. Can't say and tell you nothing. Can't say and tell you nothing. So that's happening on that front, folks. And let's talk about a couple other things. Let us talk about a couple other things. Please and thank you. So we switch around. Some other things that are trending. Did tell you, folks, quite a number of things. I want to skip through some of them for your benefit. Quite a few things happening locally we think you ought to know about. We did tell you about a few already. And for instance, the government telling us that, you see this thing about renewable energy, they talk from one side and one things here, sir. They're not ready to go full renewable energies yet. Right? They can't make up their mind, This is where the corruption comes in, And they wonder why TCI believes what they believes and know what they know. We have a Minister of Natural Resource who says that if we operationalize the Petroleum Commission to give oversight, to exercise supervisory jurisdiction over the oil and gas sector, that can slow things down. They say they have a momentum. It's a corrupt momentum. So they don't want to operationalize the agency. It's going to take too much authority from them. So we got it on the books. But to operationalize it is something totally different. Something totally different. Vikram Bharat, it's people like you responsible for we all there. Don't road up, no do and didn't do, and the TCI Guyana was working for us. It's your conduct and your actions, or the lack thereof, the omissions, that got you all right to be all there on the index. The CGIA, Jagan International Airport, they'd have us know there's a fake page about lost luggage. A fake CGIA page about lost luggage that they want you guys to be aware about. A fake page. Please and thank you. A fake page. And then the Bank of Guyana says that the public should be alerted to entrepreneurs and businesses who are selling these e-gift Visa cards locally. The e-gift Visa cards. They're saying to beware. Buyers beware. What's the Latin phrase? Can't remember. Buyers, you should say, buy them at your own risk. You see, the Bank of Guyana, this is issued today. The Bank of Guyana has sole responsibility for oversights. And they do oversights to other banks. They say, if you go to the corner shop and you buy an e-gift Visa card, they're not responsible. So exercise caution. Right? Caveat emptor. Buyers beware. Please and thank you. So that's one of the things we think you ought to know about. Beware. Beware. And then we got this other thing we're looking at here. This other situation where a teenager is said to have been attacked with a cutlass by the father of a girl she had a fight with. Right. And this father allegedly is one Kenrick Kosher, a 54-year-old technician from West Ramville. He has been remanded to prison, or was remanded to prison on Wednesday, charged with unlawfully wounding this 15-year-old girl. Yeah. Unlawfully wounding the 15-year-old with a cutlass. after she had an argument with his daughter. And the victim's mother, apparently, has presented video evidence of the assault to senior magistrate Fabio Azor, leading to a denial of bail. He's been remanded. Yep. The father, nonetheless, Mr. Kosher, pleaded not guilty, and he is set to return to the court on February 26th. Yeah. We gotta be careful out there, folks. Be careful. See, this might be one of the symptoms that people don't trust the police. Right? And we used to have people in the community we could go to and say, look, you be the mediator before I go to lash this parent and lash the child. In the absence of all of that, in the fastest growing economy in the world, people take matters into their own hands. Sadly, people take matters into their own hands. Right? So we had this press conference today. Back to them, but we had this press conference today, also known as the corner shop. The damn live, folks. Smash that emoji button, also known as the corner shop show. You remember when the lamppost fell in South Ramble Gardens? About 21. One after the next. One after the next. They just fall down. These lampposts in South Ramble Gardens. It's what happens when you give friends, family, and favorites the contracts. They fell like dominoes. Whop, 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 whop. These lampposts, they fell like dominoes, folks. Well, recently, some also fell on home stretch. It's almost criminal, brothers and sisters, what this government is doing. We got over 3,000 of you watching us live. Share the damn live. Smash that emoji, but let me ring this bell one time for all you who share the live for us. Please and thank you. Ring that bell one time. Party with us too. And help us to keep going. We don't run on water. Regretfully. We don't. It's almost criminal what these boys do. And the same thing we saw in South is the same thing we're seeing here now. This on home stretch. Just off and in front of the Cliff Anderson Sports Club. It's criminal what's going down. And look at the base of one of these poles. This was addressed today in this corner shop show press conference. And they tell you what are the protocols and how deep it should go. Well, people know nothing but putting poles deep. All the poles in the PPP fall down. Jack J knows this, Kwame knows this, Anna knows this. The pole fall down. They never putting pole deep. You gotta come to us for that. Putting what pole deep? Here's somebody said. The fallen poles of home stretch. Take a look.
The time I saw this, I spoke. So I had, after the issue that took place in Aubrey Barker Road, I asked them about the protocols. What are the protocols for putting down concrete posts? So they said 10% of the posts plus 2 feet. But they didn't have a concrete base. That's GPL's protocol. 10% plus 2 feet. The other one, the one in Aubrey Barker Road, they didn't install it at spec. They told me these were installed at spec, but you will have to look at the conditions in which you install these. And we're clay, we have a high water table, these are heavy posts. So I said to them, and I mentioned here that they had to work on the protocol. So they told me the protocol has been established, which now will put concrete base. So when you put the post down 10 feet, maybe 2, you have to encase it in concrete. But that was not the protocol when this was installed. because this only happened a few weeks ago. You should catch Edgehill and Indar a bit more and ask them about these, and GPL, because ask them about the protocol, because I've been pushing for them to get it. It's irksome. It's when I see this stuff happening. So on that matter, I would love if you corner the agencies, put them on the spot too. Some of the GPL and the others, call them and ask them how you were installing posts that are falling down. Because often we as politicians, we have to take the heat for everything. Anytime they do a shoddy job there, we don't even know how deep they're putting down the damn thing. And we got to take the heat all the time. So I would love if people mount some heat on these technical people and put their faces to the people who approved it.
He says he must mount them. Mount some heat on them. He don't know about putting down pole. As a matter of fact, them boys say he pole for a long job. He said this pole put down to specs. This pole here put down to specs. 10. How much did he say? 2 feet down and then something. Unless we know what we're looking at. This is Home Stretch Avenue. This is the spec. But notice in this response, and I've given you the full response there. In this response, you got the full response there. He doesn't talk about penalties for the contractor. He doesn't talk about penalties for the contractor, for this camp tractor. And they want to know why they have received such a low rating on the corruption perception index. For us, it's a no-brainer. But he's baffling, with this equation, E equals MC, and, the square root and the obtuse angle and the mixing Pythagoras theorem with the simultaneous equation and all of that. And he ain't getting it. He said they told him, right? Remember, he know too much about pole and stuff. He know too much about putting in pole, right? So when he said, but when you start talking, look, hear me now. Andrew Griffith and folks, Loretta and Rudolph and Pinky, and when you all start putting in pole deep, he lost. He out of his depths now. They'll never put in pole deep no place. You see, these make a lot of things answer to God for you. When you go back to Father, what you can say you do? The Father said, go and do X, Y, Z. What you can tell you do? They never put in pole deep no place. That's why they're doing the nonsense they're doing here. The pole fall down now. Somebody take the mic. I beg you. Take the mic. The pole fall down. He said, oh, them boys tell me. Common sense would tell you. Common sense could tell you. A long pole like that can't go in a little hole. Common sense is a no-brainer. What you got to do is dig out the hole and push the pole inside. That's what you got. Dig out the hole and push the pole inside. Common sense could tell you it's a no-brainer. But see, people who are unaccustomed to pole, they know the thing. When you look at a hole, you know you could only stay outside at the tip and what have you. But this is the look, Jesus have mercy. Father have his mercies. And then them boys now. And there's the corner shop show. Then them boys now, folks. from the scam tractors. From the scam tractors. Right? from the scam tractors. Not again to the scam grant. Jack, your story on this scam grant long, sir. Longer than the pole. The story of the scam tractor. Longer than the pole. My God, is excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse on this cash grant story. Guyanese waiting for hours in these lines. Better we go plan 2 poll in the meantime. Put them poll deep. Excuse after excuse for this cash grant business. Excuse after excuse. Excuse after excuse. So he spoke to the sister about the cash grants. The reporter said this thing is a lot of confusion. He said, I admit, what else you can do? When you see in the video people walking over each other, fights breaking out, and all of that, what else you can do? You got to admit, it's confusion in some places. Confusion. And then he spoke to the issue of authorizations, because a lot of folks from overseas want to know when they come and register, they can authorize somebody to uplift and so on. You know? Take a listen.
On the matter of the checks and the cash grant, so I've been out for a while. I just was checking my phone. I spoke with the Secretary to the Treasury before I came here, and I asked him to give me a report. So this is what he sent. So far, he has these numbers. Let me just give you the numbers. So the checks printed for region 1, 19,800, 15,700. I'm rounding up, right? I'm rounding up. 700 being distributed. 31,000 for region 2, 26,000 distributed. 87,000 for 3, 33,000 distributed. 229,000 for 4. They have 19,000 here, but when you look at the public service, so this excludes people in the public service, which is another 50-something thousand, etc. Then region 5, 36,000, 16,000 distributed. That's region 5, region 6, 74,000, 32,000 distributed. 7, 14,000, 11,000 distributed. 8, 7,000, 9, 4,007. 9, 16,000, 11,700 distributed. 10, 27,800, 10,900 distributed. So they have 545,000 printed, about 100, over 200,000 distributed when you add down plus the public servants. So that's where they are. This doesn't deal with their registration. I may have the numbers here, but I don't want to go into that now. It's a long report here that I have. So the ministries have instruction, the Ministry of Finance, to simplify this. We're getting some confusion at different places because people registered. So many of them registered. So they have to verify and then print the checks. So the numbers registered may not be the same number of checks printed because they go through a verification before that. But with a view to accelerate distribution, so take for example, if they go to my village, Unity, and say 100 persons registered, they've been able to verify 75, so they'll print 75 checks. But we want to distribute now. We don't want to wait on the 25 orders to be printed and verified. So you can accelerate it. When they start distributing, the word gets around, they're distributing the checks. So the 25 orders may show up too, but their checks are not there because they have not been verified. So they're getting that problem. So this is something we have to be better with. I don't know how, because you can't get to each home to call people to say, like if it's a big community, 3,000 people, to call everyone and say, your check is not ready as yet for the 10 or 20% that may not be ready. Please don't come. So people end up showing up there, and then they find out, they're waiting, and they find out, oh, my check is not printed. They will get it. They will get it, but it just creates sometimes confusion. That is a problem that we are encountering. So the ministry has to improve on this. Ashley Singh has to take this personally and deal with it. Now that the budget is over and his staff can focus full time on this, that they have to pay more attention to this. We want to get it out as quickly as possible. And with the least confusion. There has been some confusion, but it's dictated by those sorts of things. Now, if your check is cut, we did not want to do this authorization, because we said only people who come home and register, and they have to collect their checks in person. I don't know what we're doing. We started doing shut-ins and stuff like that. So if you can't come and collect your check, eventually you will get your check to you once you're living in Guyana. If you go abroad, that's a different matter. When you come home, your check will be there. But we may not want to go for authorization. Then someone told me, I think I saw a note from Mosley, saying that people register with their passports, and they were told that they can't go with an ID to collect it. Now I have to find out why that is so. These little things, and sometimes when you have a large number of people doing this, people bring their own views as to what should happen. It's the same reason why we don't want biometrics to be decided by 3,000 polling agents who can then decide who will vote and who wouldn't vote based on their own interpretation of the law and biometrics. If you give people that authority, they then act, each person can act differently. The man at Maka might behave differently than the one at Diamond or in Port Morant. He may say, this is my understanding of it. And that's not the government's understanding. They bring their own interpretation. So I said to the staff, you have to clarify all of these things. You have to make sure, talk to people over and over. They said we train people, but sometimes they do the same thing on the ground. And some people are sour, they go out, leave long lines. We put them in place there, then they leave for lunch and don't come back until 2-3 hours later. And I know people are just waiting there. So we're encountering all of these issues. And so maybe you're right that in some places it's going well where people are conscientious, and in other places where they're not, it is creating problems. On the authorization, I don't think at this stage. I don't know how they're dealing with it. I'm out of the loop for a bit on this, so I will try to find out if they're dealing with that.
I see MP with the finance on the live, and she says they're making this up as they go along. If what he says is so confusing, if what he says is so chaotic, is so chaotic, could you imagine what is on the ground? Could you imagine what is happening on the ground? Folks, they should be paying Azrin and Mohammed rent because he's in their head. He is in their heads, rent-free. They should be paying him rent. Rent-free, folks. That's how we're living in their heads. Rent-free. Azrin recently, Azrin Mohammed, he was in Black Bush. He was in Black Bush. Picture shows there. Oh, this got them nervous. Because they've been saying that, oh, he has this appeal in black communities that are poor. Oh, let him go to Indian communities. Let him go to Indian communities. When he had to go, the community called him. The community called Azruddin, and he responded. Oh my God. Well, it's now they're more nervous. Now they're more nervous. So, Mr. Mohammed, businessman, Mr. Mohammed, he didn't say he's running for president or nothing, you know. But they're nervous, folks. They're nervous. Listen to some of what Jack News said today in this press conference. And you can hear the veiled threats in this to business people talking about people pass visas withdrawn and could be withdrawn. Hear the veiled threats. But I am frightened. I am frightened. That's what you have, you know. I am frightened. A lot of polls circulating, showing a lot of things. I am frightened. Black Bush. Right? You know, they always got these set piece press conferences. They always got these set piece press conferences, and who asks what question and leading the question. Leading questions. Here's somebody said about Azruddin Mohammed and the sanctions and taxes. Oh, this is one of the calling cards. You see? They always try to hit you where it hurts. Taxes. Oh, he bought some vehicles and they didn't pay the correct tax. I think it's a shame that we got to pay so much of tax to import a proper vehicle. If you work and you put aside $2, oh God, the tax to import a vehicle won't kill you. You buy 3 vehicles, you pay $300 million in tax. That's the same. That's number one. But they're coming for you now. You see, Terence Campbell. Oh, taxes. Azruddin Mohammed, taxes. I give a 10,000 in the bank, sir. They ain't bad with me. I give a 10,000 in the bank. Oh, the taxes. Listen to what he says. The closer, as we wrap up.
I don't like to comment on tax matters. You'd recall Crybaby Campbell, who thinks that everybody is persecuting him. He's looking for attention. When he spoke about me not paying taxes and some other groups of Guyanese not paying taxes, he identified them, and somebody released that he got $138 million of write-off, and that one of his claims is that his company was bankrupt and he couldn't pay the taxes, including keeping people's VAT money that they had already paid. He then ran off and said, oh, we're persecuting him. He mentioned it in the public domain. He brought taxes in the public domain. The document surfaced, and then he complained that he's being persecuted. So the same thing here. I looked at the post, Azruddin Mohammed, because I don't think Team Mohammed or whatever that is owes taxes. It's an individual who made that post, and he put in the post number of vehicles and how much taxes he paid. So clearly, now that we've looked at it, I'm surprised to see the figure, because anecdotally, if you have to bring in vehicles above certain level, considered luxury vehicles in Guyana with high cylinder capacity, the combined taxes are about 2.5 times the declared value of a vehicle. So if one of the vehicles costs $700,000 US, then you have to multiply that by 2.5 to come up with what the taxes would be. But if you paid $98 million for 3 vehicles, which is not even 1 time the acquisition cost. So he did this in an unsolicited manner. So I hope that now that the GRA has dealt with it, that there is no claim that there is persecution. It originated, the GRA, I have the GRA note, the GRA made it clear that they looked at this post, they checked their records, and The release is quite clear from the GRA. So I hope that when people talk publicly about their tax matters, they know that there is a GRA that's looking on. And the GRA has even spoken about whistleblowers, that there's a reward for whistleblowers. Not that we have a police state, but you don't mess with the tax authorities. You don't mess with tax authorities. We didn't know that Terence Campbell got 138 million of write-off. It took place under us because the law authorizes the GRA to do that. We discovered it when the document came in the public domain. So I hope that there's no claim of persecution like Crybaby Campbell. And they come up with these things, and then when they get rebutted, they go off and sulk in the corner and like crybabies. So the right of every Guyanese to own whatever they want should not be questioned. You just have to pay the right taxes. Now, we have made it clear the US government has issued sanctions on the Mohammeds, and they said that the banks and anybody who is associated with them run the risk of facing sanctions. And I'm aware that a lot of people have had their visas withdrawn because of association. So fairly large numbers of people. So that's a fact. But we don't run a police state, and the Mohammeds are entitled to due process too. And we don't have, people are free to travel any part of this country wherever they want to travel, including the Mohammeds, and they can meet whomever they want to meet. That is their constitutional right, and the PPP will not infringe on their right to do so just to prove a point politically. They will protect people's rights. Whether people choose to associate with them or not, that's a different matter, but they should have a right to move freely and to associate with whomever they wish. Politically, we now worry. We see pictures surfacing and stuff like that, and I will deal with that at the appropriate time. But it's not, we're not going to infringe on people's right. I think a lot of the banks and the others have voluntarily cut their business dealings with the Mohammeds because they're afraid of US sanctions, and because that was very explicit in the report. So that's the position there.
Pictures surfacing. Pictures surfacing. Pictures surfacing. We are worried. We are worried. We'll deal with it at the appropriate time. We're going to deal with it at the appropriate time, folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. That's the time that goddamn very worried. That's the time. And that's a program. We're going to see you guys in the next one. Is it Friday yet? It's Thursday. See you tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, the final day for the week. Final broadcast. Plural for the week as well. That's going to do. Thanks for joining us, folks. We went a little overtime tonight. Dan Graves-Andy. That's going to do it for us. Pinky and Tony and Everett and all the other folks. Thanks for joining us. Tony, Everett, Mia Mills, Bushmaster, Patricia, Sandra, Wilma, and all the other folks. Thanks for joining us. That's our time. That's our program. Stay safe.